Evening, guys. Mr. Zortman here again. Going to show you guys the new information about the AP College Board and what they've changed about the tests. I'm going to show you how to find this information, but I'm going to talk about the psychology specifically because that's what I teach. So if you go to apcentral.collegeboard.org, it's going to ask you to sign in. Once you've signed in, up here there's going to be a little alert. How are we supporting schools in the coronavirus? So click there, scroll on down. Now this says AP exam schedule, but it has a lot more information than the schedule right there. And then down here we have online course schedule and the resource tools that we've had for a little while. So if you go back up here to the AP exam schedule, click on view the schedule. It's going to give you all the times here. So they've spread out the tests a little bit. Instead of having 2 tests per day, there's 3 tests per day. So remember, in Texas, we're in Central Time. So the first test will be at 11 a.m. The second test will be at 1 p.m. and the third test will be at 3 p.m. All right, so scroll on down here, find your particular school or class. Mine is psychology right here, so I know that it is at 1 p.m. It's in the center column on Tuesday, May 19th. So then we get down here. This is the good stuff. This is what we actually wanted to know. So course-specific exam information. See exam dates and times, and then what do you need to do on the test below. So you scroll down here, you look through your columns, find your category. Once you find your category, you find your subject. So let's go ahead and take a look at AP Psychology. So AP Psychology, once again, it gives you all the time zones, but we're 1 p.m. in Texas. Students will have 25 minutes to read and respond to question 1. The questions are usually about 7 parts, so we will get into that in our specific tutorials in a little bit. And then 5 minutes to upload their responses. So you got 25 minutes to do it, 5 minutes to upload your response. After uploading the response to question 1, students will have 15 minutes to respond to question 2, with 5 additional minutes to upload the response to question 2. Once the response to question 1 have been submitted, you can't go back. So if you're in question 2 and you're like, oh, now I remember what that term means, you can't go back. So question 1, 25 minutes. Question 2, 15 minutes. You get question 1 is weighted 55% of the test. Question 2 is rated 45% of the test. So these will have multiple parts, and we'll talk about that in specific tutorials as well. So the question name, first one is concept application. So they're going to give you a scenario, and you're going to then apply a bunch of psychology terms to it. We're going to practice that ad nauseum here starting on Monday. So we'll practice that a lot and a lot. Research methods. This one is going to give you a research study, and it will probably give you graphs and charts, and then it'll ask you to make informed decisions about that. The good thing about this is that I'm going to give you 6 terms, and 2 of them will most likely be on here out of the 6. So it changes from year to year, but research and methods doesn't change a whole lot. We're going to spend a lot of time on that too in tutorials. So similar in structure to the traditional concept application, so that's good. similar instruction to the research, so we know how those work. The makeup test, you're not going to want to do, but if you have a power outage or something goes haywire, right, then you need to get in touch with the AP coordinator, which is Miss Sanchez, as soon as possible so that she can set you up for the makeup test. All right, so that is that. So let's just do one more just for uh, just so you guys who are taking multiple tests know how to read these. So let's say that you were doing AP macroeconomics. So we got the exam date of May 31st at 1 p.m. or I'm sorry, at 3 p.m. So it's the evening testing. Students are going to have 25 minutes to read and respond to question 1, then upload it. And question 2 is going to be 15 minutes and then 5 minutes to upload. Same as psychology. Same breakdown here. Question 1 is going to be 2 short free response questions, and question 2 is going to be a long free response question. So it's going to talk about the skills that you need in order to answer the question in this box here. So question 1, question 2. And then it's going to talk about some specifics. So for you guys, you're not going to have to draw graphs, which means you're probably going to have to interpret graphs, but you won't have to draw them. So you can use a 4-function calculator, which is just, if you go over to your computer over here, and then calculator, it's just got plus, minus, multiply, and divide, right? That's all you're going to need for that particular class. All right, so there is that. Let's jump back. Let's look at taking the exams. So basically, they did a survey saying, are we going to scrap the test or not? 91% of the people they surveyed said that we needed to still do the test. So that's what they're doing. You can get into some more frequently asked questions here. This year, here's an important part. It's open book and open note. So there are tips here you can follow for taking open book, open note tests. You can use outside resources. That means that defining will not get you the point. You're going to need to apply your knowledge. So you're going to need to apply it, work it back into the question, and we'll talk about that at length starting Monday. So students will be able to take exams on any device, computer, tablet, or smartphone. They'll be able to type or upload their responses or write their responses by hand and submit a photo via their cell phone. Now, if you really want to do this, write your responses by hand and take a picture, you can. I would recommend not doing that. If you have any type of typing skill at all, I would probably type it. That way it's much easier to read and grade. There's no chance that the file will be too dark or too light or whatever. So exam timing, the exams will be given between May 11th and May 22nd on that sheet we just saw. Makeup test dates will be from June 1st through June 5th. You can take the exams at home or in school. So for instance, if you got a 1 o'clock test, you're going to want to be in the computer lab at 12:30. It also does say, I'm not sure where, but it does say that you're going to want to be online 30 minutes early so you can fill out all the forms and be ready to go whenever the time starts. Because across the world, it's going to start at 1 o'clock our time for everybody. So if you miss that window, you miss it. So if you're at school, we'll probably have to school business you, and you'll be taking the AP test that day. If we are still out, then you will take it from home, obviously. So before the exam day, they're going to send us or send you guys information on how to access the testing system and a video demonstration so that you can familiarize yourself with the system. Um, Most colleges have already agreed to accept credit for the 2020 scores, just like they have in the past. So if you're going to Rice, you still need a 4. If you are going to a Texas state school, you can get a 3 and still get college credit. All right. So some of you guys are going to want to look at this exam security. This is how they're going to make sure that you guys don't cheat. So I know the first thing that you think of whenever it's open note, open book is, okay, well, let me get somebody else to help me. They're going to have things in place for that. Some of them they're going to tell you beforehand. Some of them they're not going to tell you until you're taking the test. So be aware. Um, and then let's go back one more time. All right. So that's the exam schedule, taking the exam. The video on April 10th of more changes, fees, things like that is right here. It's for mainly AP coordinators. So Ms. Sanchez will probably watch that and get back to us about anything that's changed since this stuff came out. This is going to give you your online course schedule. So I know there's been some confusion about this. What they've done is they've gone ahead and finished up your course, and then they're going back over what's going to be tested. So they wanted to make sure that you did have the whole course, and then they're going to go back. So some people have been confused about that. That's what's going on there. All right. So you guys should all have access to Chromebooks, so you don't need this. Um, but this is them trying to help you out getting technology if you don't have it. And that's pretty much the information. So I think that this is good news, especially for psychology. Uh, we'll start on Monday to really get into this. And I hope you guys all do great. Bye.